here we are. We now have the third season of Strange New Worlds in the bag. And with the real world the way it is in 2025, at least we could say that Strange New Worlds almost said something, sort of, sometimes, maybe, not really, yes. Today, we are talking about the Ortegas episode, Terrarium, and the season finale, New Life and New Civilizations, which strangely has neither. In addition, we're going to do our usual Treknicity thing and reflect back on the good, the bad, and the ugly, and the excessive references to series as past, which gives me one little nugget of wisdom to impart to the Strange New Worlds writers who seem to be trying to mirror Lower Decks a little too much with their references. Unless you're actually Lower Decks, you never go full Lower Decks, even when you do a crossover with Lower Decks. This is Treknicity. Welcome to Treknicity, a Star Trek podcast, where we do the deep dive on all things Star Trek. I'm your host, Patrick Murray, and still here, despite her better judgment, my co-host, Kat Drake.
Hello, everyone. Yeah, I'm somehow still here.
Yeah, even after last week. Wow, amazing. I don't even remember what we did last week. It's all blurring together.
That's just time for you, friend.
Kind of like most of the episodes of Strange New Worlds at this point. But in this episode, we're going to talk about the final Strange New episode. Yeah, I can't talk. The final Strange New episodes of the third Strange New World season. Those Terrarium and New Life and New Civilizations. And then we're going to wrap this up with a little discussion how good the season really was and what the writers need to do in the next and last 16 episodes. By the way, that's seasons 4 and 5. We got 16 more episodes of this shit.
16?
That's it.
Oh, what? They're doing 8 a season? That's
no
bullshit.
10 and 6.
Okay.
Which means one big story arc for season 5.
That's still yuck.
Yep. Anyway.
Yeah, and that means we are heading into spoiler territory. So if you haven't watched these episodes, go watch them, then come back here.
So,
warning you.
Before we begin the episode reviews, though, let's do it. It's time for Pelly Watch.
Woo!
Watch!
Okay. Pelly Watch.
Okay.
So, with Scotty on board and Carol Kane no longer in the main credits, we're tracking the inevitable departure of the quirkiest Enterprise engineer.
Your favorite engineer of them all, I know. Okay, so for Terrarium, it's the Ortegas episode. It's a box ep. There's no Pelia. They had the rest of the crew in because, well, Uhura needed to save the day because she's about as Mary Sue as they get on the show, to be fair. The bridge of the Enterprise is the B plot. That's about it. However, New Life, New Civilizations, she's having some fun partying with Pike and somehow getting into another franchise, some kind of doctor and something timey-wimey or something. I don't know. After that, she does the engineer stuff, so we'll just cover it as we get to it because it's more functional than Pelia-ish.
Yep. Hey, to quote that doctor, allons-y.
There we go. I didn't know, remember which doctor you're quoting, but oh well.
That was 10th.
10th, got it. So let's get into the Ortegas app. Because, yeah, it's the Ortegas app. I'm excited because we've been waiting for a couple seasons.
Yeah, we have.
So, in the previously segment, we get the Ortegas trauma dump montage. Wonder what that means this episode is going to be about. We get to start off. We get an Ortega's log about investigating a peculiar area of uncharted space as we pass through Ortega's quarters and see our one and only Erica Ortegas gearing up for an away mission to fly a shuttle through odd gravity waves. She is the pilot,
Whee!
after all.
Yeah, she is the pilot.
In the science lab, Uhura and Spock discuss the odd waves as Ortega shows up to banter and make jokes as Spock does his deadpan. She and Uhura walk out, and we find out this is going to be a solo Ortegas mission. Gee, I wonder what that means. Ortegas takes off for some non-visual flight as the crew observes from the bridge. After some flying fun, the usual things go wrong, and Ortegas gets sucked into the sudden but inevitable wormhole, with the whole comms cutting out and Uhura declaring, "She's gone," before we cut to the credits.
Oh no! It's the Ortegas episode.
Yes. And
Oh,
yeah, to be fair, I've been waiting for this. We have been waiting for this so long that we get
we
to see
have.
Ortegas other than being wingman for somebody, or I fly the ship.
Don't you mean wing woman?
Eh,
I'm
eh,
so
it's
sorry.
the 21st century. Who gives a shit?
Yeah, no, but I think it was it was all right, you know, for
So,
a
yes.
for a box episode, it's pretty good.
Yep. Okay. So yeah, that's pretty much. There's not a lot to go talk about there. So let's just get right into this. So the shuttle Archimedes sploops out at the ass end of the wormhole and careens through a lot of space debris as Ortegas dodges it and starts logging, and deploying sensor buoy just before the crash landing. She wakes up to find the shuttle scrapped, food and water fried, comms cooked, after she leaves one last log. She builds a condenser to make survival water, folds in paper airplane, then waits until we get a beep and she gets water. She then peeps out to her surroundings. Over on the Enterprise, the crew are discussing how they missed the wormhole. Uhura's optimistic. Una mentions the pandemic planet that they have the vaccine for, so there's our ticking clock. Ticking clock. I'm not going to go any further with that one because I just thought of a certain person. Ortegas wanders out onto this weird but breathable planet or moon or whatever it is to look for some food. She spots the wormhole, sees the gas giant, and figures out that the planet is going to fly through the toxic upper atmosphere. She spots a light, zooms in, finds what turns out to actually be an artificial structure of some kind, or
Ooh.
kind of a cave, but looks like it's built out of something. Back on the bridge, another call for the Enterprise to rendezvous with the Constellation for the vaccine. Uhura manages to pick up the Mayday. Everybody else is a wet blanket. But Uhura suggests launching probes for more signal. Pike agrees and lets Captain Decker know that they're going to be there, but taking a little bit. So Ortegas walks in, gets the shelter, looks like there's somebody. Then she spots the other person who is a Gorn. Scary trauma music time.
Oh my god, are we getting some hardcore Gorn action?
Yes, hardcore Gorn.
Hardcore Gorn.
Yes, hardcore. Okay. Sorry.
For those of you that don't know,
Lars is talking in our ear and cracking bad jokes. Dad jokes. Bad dad jokes. So hey now, Gold Star. Anyway, so first thing I got to point out, if you remember the original series episode, The Doomsday Machine, Matt Decker, the captain that goes nuts and takes over the Enterprise and tries to fly it down the flaming bugle.
Yep.
The snack bugle, not the horn.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that's the Matt Decker we're talking about because the Constellation was his Connie that he got blown up.
Oh, wait, no.
Correction.
So this is
Correction. He beamed his crew to a planet just before the Doomsday Machine ate them, and then he was all sad and alone and crazy.
But also, isn't Strange New Worlds before the original series, so this is
Yeah.
pre-craziness Decker.
Yeah, he had. Yeah. This is the Matt Decker that will eventually do that when Kirk is in command.
Nice to see a little reference to that. Well, not reference to that, but like a little subtle reference, you know?
So yeah. So now we know what our stakes are. Ortegas is marooned all alone on a planet with her mortal enemy, who is a Gorn. Strangely, this reminds me of another movie, but we'll get to that once we find out how bad the Gorn fight's going to be.
Yeah.
So the Gorn returns to the abode, sniffs around, growls a little bit, but we find out Ortegas is outside, hiding behind a rock. Over on the Enterprise, the probes have failed. Uhura says, let's just throw a few dozen more in there. However, the wormhole is shrinking due to shooting probes in there.
Oh.
So Uhura says, how about we just throw a shuttle at it? Uhura's optimistic. But with another pandemic, it's a numbers game. Pike says okay, but only if the numbers work and time doesn't run out, because ticking clock.
Yep, because of the vaccines.
Ortegas wishes for a phaser before she hears something. We see a hole before the Gorn shows up, grabs Ortegas. Ortegas yells at the Gorn, but the Gorn chucks her aside, grabs a worm that shoots out, and walks away. In the science lab, Uhura and Spock discuss the shuttle sims that keep failing as the pointless background science extras just stare at them. Seriously, go back to that scene. There's two people in blue standing there and just watching the scene. Uhura is still optimistic. They run more sims. Ortegas continues to bluster at the Gorn as the Gorn rips up the worm, then chucks her a scrap of food. She eats the snot meat. It's hilarious.
Snot meat.
In behind, we see the powered Gorn panel. Ortegas sneaks in and takes the comms array from it as the Gorn is sleeping. She heads back to the shuttle, spots some kind of light watching again, and then watches the shuttle fall into a crevasse.
Oh.
Hold on a second here. Yeah. She walks back to the Gorn hut, but the worms start showing up. Then the Gorn shows up to get bit in the leg and raise a shield to stop the attack. So Pike comes into the science lab to hear Plan E, which involves sticking the Enterprise into the wormhole to wedge the wormhole open, or fudges the numbers to justify the mission, optimistically, of course. And they go. So,
As you do.
Yep. So Ortegas proposes staying in the cave. The Gorn points to a paste for their leg. Gorn howls when she starts smearing it in there, but after leg pasting, the Gorn tosses Ortegas more meat. Ortegas lights a fire to cook her meat, which kind of upsets the Gorn, but they come to an understanding as we see the shelter also has a shield. Ortegas figures out the Gorn's a pilot.
Twins!
Yes. And after the storm subsides, Ortegas looks out to see the wormhole shrinking. She decides she and the Gorn need to work together, turns a tricorder into a functional translator with a yes-no response. At least it doesn't do one beep for yes and two beeps for no.
Beep, beep, beep.
It works, and we find out that the Gorn can understand Ortegas perfectly fine. And that the Gorn sees Ortegas not as prey, but just as an enemy. Also, the Gorn's a girl.
Girl Gorn.
Yes, it's Gorn girl. But there's no hair braiding involved for some reason. I don't know who has less hair.
The Gorn, obviously.
Not by much, though, which is still cool. So Ortegas teaches Gorn girl chess and loses. Gorn girl breaks out her own game with dice, and Ortegas manages to win. The winner's supposed to eat the winning piece. Ortegas thankfully fakes this because I don't think they get stuck. So,
yeah, it would probably shred her like.
Yep. Yeah, kind of runs. Never mind. We're not going on that one. Ortegas sees that Gorn girl's wound is infected, and she wants to go get some more crystals for the Healy goo. But Gorn girl disagrees. We find out Gorn girl sees this as a death sentence either way, since she's now weak and the Gorn will just kill her off. Back on the ship, Pike takes the helm as he's apparently the second best pilot on the ship after Ortegas, of course. They fly the Enterprise into the wormhole. Uhura prays in Swahili. They start scanning rapidly. There's not enough time, cause ticking clock. Ortega spots the light, that's stupid light again, and she's digging out crystals. Then the Munchie worms show up. She runs, triggers a flare, and it fries the comms and the shields. So apparently they're dead now.
Yeah, that's. If the wait, yeah, no, the flare fried it. Even still, that's got to be really stupid. Let's be honest.
Yeah, they have to keep raising the stakes, to be fair. But but by the time we got to this point, I already saw this. Back I try to remember what year it was released, and Lars will tell me in my ear in a moment, of a movie starring Dennis Quaid and Louis Gossett Jr. called Enemy Mine. Basically, the plot of this movie is that the guy is stranded on a planet with his alien enemy. 1985.
Damn, that's
They,
old.
I'm old. What do you expect? But yeah, essentially the plot is they get stranded, they're enemies, and eventually they become friends. And Louis Gossett Jr.'s character, who's the alien, gets pregnant, and then he dies, and the and Dennis Quaid's character takes the baby back once they get rescued after a long time.
So wait, did Dennis Quaid and the alien did they?
No,
Okay, so it isn't basically Brokeback Mountain with aliens.
no,
Okay.
it's not Brokeback. It's not Brokeback Alien Mountain.
That'd be the weirdest Disney ride ever. Escape from
We're gonna make. I'm gonna tell Lars he has to turn his mic on at some point because he's just breaking us each time. What a bastard!
It kind of this whole thing kind of reminded me of Life of Pi a bit more because one of them can speak English and the other one doesn't, and one is considerably bigger than the other.
That's a fair comparison, but I haven't seen that movie, and you haven't seen Enemy Mine because it's a decade plus older than you.
It is it is almost 20 years older than me.
I'm older than that. Yeah, I'm almost 30 years. Ah, damn, I'm old. But yeah,
you still look good, Patrick, so you don't got to worry.
oh yeah, I'm good enough. I'm smart enough, and doggone it, people like me. uh, okay, so let's see how dead Gordon Girl and Ortegas are. So Ortegas lays out how dead they exactly are. Gordon Girl agrees, but then Ortegas figures out that they can turn the entire atmosphere into a giant flare. Gordon Girl doesn't like this plan, but she pulls out a thruster pack that they can use to blow shit up. Ortega starts pulling up scraps to make some kind of protection, but starts to give up. Gordon Girl extends a hand. The enemy of my enemy? Nope. They are now apparently friends.
Oh, friends!
So they get prepping for the big boom. Ortegas hits the button. It fails, of course. Ortegas runs out to do the launch manually, makes it back as the worms start running and the sky catches fire. Then they hold on as everything gets hotter and brighter and the paper airplane burns up. And on the bridge, Una says, "Up, it's time to go." She's dead. Pike mentioned he knows he knows that Uhura fudged the numbers, but it was a good excuse to search. So, just as they are ready to give up, they spot the atmosphere of the moon exploding.
Hell yeah,
There it
explosion.
is. So they send La'an with a party to bring her home. The party beams down as Ortegas and Gordon Girl emerge. La'an and the security dogs basically shoot Gordon Girl dead immediately as Ortegas screams. She starts she starts screaming at the light that's shining as Lon orders them beamed up, and we're gonna pause before I start ranting.
Oh, you know what? The ending.
We'll get to that. But up to this point, up to Gorn Girl getting shot and them starting to beam out. We're not talking about anything after that because I got words.
You know what? No, it was kind of sad because you kind of started to build up this whole image in your head of, oh yeah, maybe Ortegas and Gorn Girl, maybe maybe the Gorn Girl will come back with them onto the Enterprise, and maybe they'll be friends. Oh, yay,
Would
friends!
it would have been an interesting thing to have a Gorn show up and be on the ship. That would have been awesome.
It would have been. It would have been almost kind of similar to Worf being the only Klingon
Yeah.
on,
Yeah.
you know.
And they could have just made Gorn Girl show up occasionally and have a translator and it been kind of cool. But we're
Yeah,
not getting that. We're getting the end of Night of the Living Dead, where one of the main characters gets shot dead at the very end. It's like, look out! Oh, looks like the character you've been rooting for just got shot.
they blew her head smooth off.
Yeah, it was brutal and horrible, but it showed something that Star Trek has been lacking: this finding common ground with your enemy. It's the same lesson that Kirk learned back in The Salad Who Ate Its Tail, that
Oh,
you are not that different from your enemy.
no,
Ortegas learned that and got over her trauma
I mean,
a little bit.
at the end of the day, you're all living creatures exploring the stars. Why not be friends?
Yes, more hugs.
Yay, hugs.
But yeah, this was I think a great ending to the episode until the transporter stops as a fucking Metron shows up.
God damn it, not the Metrons.
Yeah. So this was an experiment to see what would happen when two primitive enemies are forced to work together. And of course, they want to experiment more. And because this is a pre-toss episode, they're going to have to wipe out a memory of the Metron, so Kirk can do it first. In arena with the rubber gourd at Vasquez Rocks.
God
Ah.
damn it.
Yeah, the fact is the Metrons almost ruined the episode for me. It's the one thing that I hated in this episode, just because if they had shown the Metron, if they'd shown the Metron from behind as the landing party beamed away and then cut away from that, just left it there for the image, that would have worked for me. But no, the
Yeah.
Metron has to explain. It says, also, we're going to wipe your memory. Boop. Okay, so let's get back to what should have been more of this and less Metron crap. We cut to Erica's quarters as she stands there contemplating. Uhura comes in, gives her a hug, discusses the bravery and camaraderie of Gorn Girl, and the fact that her other friend, La'an, just shot her Gorn friend dead.
That's pretty hardcore.
Would have been better had they talked about that more. Had
Yeah.
a scene with La'an. Uhura tells Erica to remember Gorn Girl and then leaves. The final shot, the camera focuses on away from Erica to show a model of an SR-71 fighter, a picture of Beto as a kid, obviously with the camera, and a piece
Yeah.
of and a piece of and the little game piece
Game
that
piece.
Gorn Girl carved and Erica ate. And that's our episode. So yeah, I think most of our discussion stuff I got in the rant there because yeah.
It was good. However, If they hadn't added in the Metrons, I swear.
Yeah. It took some of it out of the episodes. Like, really, we got to have our Toss did it first reference. You know that South Park episode where who was it? Butters? Yeah, where everything is Simpson. The Simpsons did it, and then eventually South Park became Springfield.
Yes, I do remember that episode.
This is pretty much what they're starting to. The Strange New Worlds episodes are starting to feel like we have to get our toss reference in here. We got to reference something that's going to happen in the future because we can't have an episode without that.
What do you know? Why can't they do an episode with a little bit of original content? Like, come on, we don't need constant reference baiting
Yeah,
all the time.
yeah. Like I mentioned, the cold open. This is Lower Decks stuff. Lower Decks can do it because they're a comedy show, and that's kind of their shtick, is to find funny ways to reference other shows, but still keep it original and keep the heart of Star Trek. You never go full Lower Decks unless you're Lower Decks.
Full Lower
We need more seasons of Lower Decks.
We do. We need more Lower Decks. We need more.
But yeah, this could open something really cool. We could have some easing of tensions with the Gorn.
Yeah, because if they use the experience of Gorn Girl and Ortegas, then
And Ortegas gets to do some of this and tries to work with the Gorn. It may not succeed, but it would give you at least an episode or two.
yeah, it would give you some, you know, content. I don't.
Yeah, it'd give you something original to do and something to further start a Star Trek theme.
Yeah,
Although we probably won't get it because we can't have the Gorn show up again until Vasquez rocks, bitches.
Vasquez rock. Oh god. Are we alright to take a short break? My blood sugar's going a bit.
Yeah, I think that's a good stop because my next line is going to be, yeah, if you want to cut a pause in there, Lars. Yeah. Yep,
Yeah,
that's fine, but mark a pause in there, say.
Sorry, yeah, blood sugar's gone a bit wee-wah. Right.
Okay, I got my line to bring us back in. I gotta piss real quick. Bladder, bladder, I gotta drain it quick. Oh, bladder, bladder, bladder.
Lars, has Patrick always been like this? Has he been tested for autism? maybe that should be something. Right, I'll be back in a sec.
Oh, my bladder. Hey, Lars. I think after we get done, before we get started on the before we get STA rolling, I'm probably going to make a quick run to Taco Bell. I didn't get to do it Friday night because I got up, packed up, headed down to Taco Bell, and well, Friday night football game. You can guess what I found. Lobby jam packed. Line, a nice decent line in the drive-through, and it was not moving for shit. Next toss episode we do is going to be where no man has gone before, isn't it? Alexa, turn on nightlight. I swear, as my light started to dip a little. So I didn't change the light levels that much. Alexa, turn off nightlight. Alexa, turn on nightlight. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I switched it to auto for reasons. I don't want to switch it while in mid record. Yeah, here's what happens if I white balance exposure is what I have to adjust. Huh. Okay, my light levels are balanced out enough. Okay, I think I'm going to settle in there. Alexa, turn on work light. I'm just getting these online. So sun's coming back out. It's going to get brighter, I think. That's the problem with our record time, is that yeah, if I start to look too dark during the record, just say, Patrick, check your exposure. Then I can let Cat vamp a little while I check my exposure. Oh, we had to go to the hospital again. Yeah. I think I'm gonna have Kat do the dum 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 when we get to Evil Gamble. Hey, you're back.
Yep, I'm back. Blood sugar is coming back up as we speak. I also spilt half my fucking monster on the floor because I accidentally I knocked my desk and my monster fell off, so it hit the floor.
By the way, did you like my part where after we crash on the planet? Hold on, let me find it. I love this. She wakes up to find the shuttle scrapped, food and water fried, comms cooked. I alliterated the fuck out of that. It was fun.
Hell yeah. Ready when you are.
Oh, one quick change on at the end of the first section on the planet. Mask Dude turns around. It's and then
Bum, bum, bum.
Evil Gamble. Roll credits.
Hell yeah. God fucking damn it, my camera zoomed in again. Do you know what I think would be funny? When we do the dum dum dum. Dum dum dum.
Do it.
Okay.
Let me put my chips away.
Yeah, put your chips away.
Bought like a bunch of the little bags, so I don't. Oh, there's like
Overeat.
$10. $10 for 18 little bags versus $3 or $4 for a big bag. The problem is the big bag I'll eat in 2 sittings.
I'm
These
saying.
it'll take a week or two because I can stop with one bag. You have to walk and get another bag. Okay. Okay. Ugh.
Bloody hell, Patrick.
I got something tickling. I think I had a chip get in there. Just clear that out a little bit.
Ooh, that's burning. Ooh, I need to get some more fluid for that. Ugh.
Okay. Okay. Restarting in 3. So, with the Ortega step out of the way, we get to go for the season finale time. Here we go. Okay, our previously mainly focuses on Battelle and all of her gorniness. Also,
She's so
Gamble for
gorny.
some reason. And the circumstances of his death. Battelle beams on board the Enterprise. She is getting used to her new job as head of the Judge Advocates. However, Pike has a party at his quarters for her, and the whole crew is invited. Wait, that's
Party time! Woo!
Good time is had by all, especially when Scotty shows up in full dress because it's his turn to get pranked, just like it was for Uhura in season 1.
Okay, but let's be honest here, man. That outfit was absolutely spectacular.
Damn Skippy. Convo shifts to Corby, who's off on planet Skydance, or whatever the real name is, where the main city's name is similar to something that Evil Gamble said to Battelle just before their fight several eps ago. We cut to Planet Skydance, Viacom, CBS, Paramount Plus, the one with the giant floating D8s, and a log where Corby's talking about their worship of the Vesda, the big bads from the lens of time, through the lens of time. He's been building some trust and is heading to the top of the D8 to understand more about those big bad guys.
Ooh.
On the Enterprise, Mbenga, Chapel, and Scotty are scanning the transporters. Scotty takes the opportunity to do what we've been doing for 2 seasons and makes jokes about Pelia. Though, unfortunately, it just ends up sounding like a lame vampire. They spot an anomalous pattern. On the planet, Corby and the priest dude kneel before a mask figure. On the ship, they look further. It's a human pattern. Gamble's pattern. And it left the ship. On the planet, masked dude turns around. It's
Bum bum bum.
Evil Gamble. Roll credits.
The bell. That bell got me, dude.
Hey, if anytime I say roll credits, it's got to be done. Okay. So, yeah, we finally found out what we were doing from Lens. We find out what that computer anomaly thing was going to be doing.
Yeah. The funky chunky monkey computer code.
And obviously, from the beginning, we know it's Evil Gamble. We know that Battelle had a reaction. And most of the stuff at the beginning was Battelle.
Yes.
So, this is the resolution.
It is. We're very much getting Chekhov's gun right now.
Or Chekhov's Gorn. I can't. Well, yeah, okay. I had the right word, and I said at least 2 wrong words before I got.
Hey, no. To be fair, at this point, it might as well just be Chekhov's warp core.
Or Chekhov's Planet D8. Let's be honest. Those structures, I didn't look up what the actual geometric structure should be. They're close enough to D8s, though, for my taste.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they are very like D8 shaped. So
Yeah,
I get why you'd say that.
Okay, so let's get back for the break here. In the briefing, crew discusses Corby's emergency transponder, the planet where the planet Skydance, whatever, where they don't like the Federation, the whole sitch with the bad guys, and the Enterprise is off a warp in a minute to planet D8. They crammed it all in there that fast. It was a 1 minute from start of the ep to they're on the way. I think it all took almost as long for me to read it as it did for them to get on the way. We find out Battelle's still on board, doing the punching bag thing. Pike comes in and she says she kind of needs to be on this mission for reasons. Destiny, maybe?
You mean the worst game ever?
No, I could get a... No, there are much worse than that. I will play... We're not going to talk about those games because they discuss their futures. So Pike and Battelle discuss their futures and what could be, but probably won't be. On the planet, La'an, Una, Mbenga, and Chapel and Uhura. I'm just reading what I'm writing, and I'm failing to understand how I wrote everything this bad. La'an, Una, Mbenga, Chapel, and Uhura move through the city disguised. They find the gateway, and there's 2 guards. Una and Mbenga do some Rigel grade distractions, while La'an slips in behind the guards and culturally appropriates the Vulcan nerve pinch to knock them out. But it's okay. She's sort of dating a Vulcan.
Yeah, well, no, with that logic, then that means if you're... You know what? I'm not even going to go off on that tangent.
Yeah, I got Ponfar jokes coming. Chapel's impressed with the whole thing with the nerve pinch, but they go through the gateway. On the ship, Spock, Scotty, and Pelia and Sam Kirk are trying to figure out how the Vesda got to the merger planet. We get ley lines because hey, we haven't done ley lines yet. Let's put that in there. So that connects the Enterprise, the planet, and the evil Vesda prison planet. And they find out the stakes is a planet full of evil Vesda, which is the merger planet.
Oh
with
no.
The D8s. So on the planet, they immediately find Corby, and he tells them that Evil Gamble has control of everybody. Speaking of Evil Gamble, he shows up to his worshippers, and after some creepy prayers, the faithful start stabbing their eyes out. Ow.
I mean, obviously it's going to be called Ow because of, you know,
Okay. Also, I could clarify. They gave me a screenshot so I could actually say the planet is called Skygowan. I'm still going to make fun of it, and the city is Kalikachna.
Kalikachna.
Kalikachna. There we go. But about the poking the eyes out, this
Yeah.
reminds me of a story. This reminds me of a story. Complete side story here. There was this one time I was trying to fix a couch, and in the process, I had the spring pop up and smack me right in the face, and it got me in the eye.
Ooh, ouchie. That is
Luckily, I
no-
found out eyes heal faster than even in the mouth, which heals extremely fast. The problem was that I had to get it taken care of, and it had kind of got. So you know how sometimes whenever you actually hit skin yourself, you sometimes that little tag of skin, you just got to cut it off there.
Yeah.
Imagine doing that with tweezers on the eye as you watch.
That
That's
is
what I thought of when we got the stabbing scene.
that is gross, Patrick.
It wasn't that bad. I can see fine out of that eye.
Aye, aye,
Yeah,
Captain.
this one. Ow.
Bloody hell. That must have hurt like a mother chuffer.
Let's put it this way. I didn't drive that day. Yeah.
You ever be allowed on the road, Patrick?
I've been driving for decades. I've only lost my license once.
And I don't even have a license yet. What? Oh, goodness me.
Okay.
I mean, the whole eye stabbing thing is it's kind of similar to a certain plot in Doctor Who.
No, we're not getting the doctor. We're not bringing the doctor back for this episode, are we? Yes, we are. Go ahead. Which ep are we talking? Which one are we talking about?
So
Also, which doctor? Because I don't know my Doctor Who mostly.
okay, so 11th Doctor, it also carried over to the 12th. There was a kind of mini arcing storyline to do with the Weeping Angels. Basically, this guy went crazy and scooped his eyes out, so that the angel that was trapped in his mind didn't get out. Ooh.
Repeat that. I did not hear you, Lars. Oh. Okay. So Lars is just reminding me of the thing we got back in Paleo Watch. Because it was that
Yep.
because it was that little because it was in this conversation. That's when we got them thing.
So basically, it's confirmed that Doctor Who exists in the Star Trek universe.
Okay. That or Pelly is just hamming it up for the camera because Carol Kane. I'll assume it's just Carol Kane being Carol Kane.
Carol Kane, the woman you are, or should I say, the gremlin you are.
Okay, so let's get back into this. So because the shit has hit the fan, they get the Farragut, and of course, not the captain, but First Officer James T. Kirk, because we got to fit Kirk in here somehow. So Kirk says Farragut's on his way to help, because they're shoehorning him in yet again. Shoehorn. Hold on. My apologies. I just lost my screen. There we go. Shoehorn. So on the planet, they get to the altar and determine it's actually a gateway. On it, they see a good avatar and a bad avatar, and Mbenga's life story written in Swahili.
Ooh.
What? Yeah, the gateway scans Mbenga, then opens up. He's ready to go through, but Una says no. Then Evil Gamble shows up and tosses him through. So we end up on Prison Planet, where Mbenga learns from Evil Gamble that everything is duality, and that's why he needed the Enterprise to come up so he and Mbenga could go through. Evil Gamble monologues how they're going to take all the people on Skygowan for bodies, and then he starts blasting the Beholder statue. On the ship, Batel starts glowing and gets some Gary Mitchell's cosmic eyes up. Strange energies. Lon briefs the captain and number one on the whole planet mess. Pike's interrupted by a call to sickbay for Batel. She's fine except for those galaxy eyes, which then go away. But then Chapel, checking her scans, discovered that Batel's signature exactly matches the Beholder statue.
Oh, so.
Mbenga debates with Evil Gamble, then tries to kill himself to foil his plans. They fight, and Evil Gamble gets chucked through a doorway.
Oh, goodness.
In the Science Slam, Batel lays it out. Between the Gorn Baby, the Illyrian Blood, the Chimera Blossom, and all the sciencey shit they've been doing to keep her from being dead, Batel has been changed. She's figured out the Vesda are the evil, and all the species in the galaxy adapt to fight evil. And now that Batel's got all this stuff in her, she is the being that can fight the Vesda. Ooh. She explains that nothing else really fits except for this. So she's the one who has to go and fight because effect comes before cause and stuff. And destiny shit. But Pike's going with her just for the fight because
You gotta fight for your right to party?
okay. So Pike and Batel go down to the planet, but can't get the gate open, and they need to figure a way out to open it. On the ship, Una, Spock, Scotty, and Pelia, those two names are going to get me again and again, I'm sure, discuss how to get enough power to open the gateway. And apparently they need two ships, but luckily they got Enterprise and Jim Kirk on the Farragut.
Yay!
Firing together perfectly, but also manually. This gives Spock an idea. And let's do a mind meld between him and Jim Kirk because they're destined to become friends because it's Kirk and Spock.
I mean,
If they don't
become,
do this, they blast the planet to pieces. I'm sorry, repeat what you said.
They're gonna become a little bit more than friends, if you know what I'm saying.
Okay, so after some banter, Kirk agrees, and we get a mind spurk.
Mind spurk.
Yep, because they're getting called spurk for the remainder of this part. So on the bridge, spurk are synchronized perfectly. They line the ships up, speak in stereo, and fire perfectly. And on the planet, the gateway opens, and Pike and Batel step through. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Action music. Yeah. So, couple things. Obviously, they're kind of pointing Batel to her end because they're setting up that this is her final episode.
This is her demise.
Yes and no, but we'll get to that point. But hey, it's a commentary on destiny and how you can't avoid it, which works into the next section pretty good. Well, I really wish they'd stop breaking on Jim Kirk, though. We don't need Kirk in every episode.
Yeah, leave him for later on.
One, maybe 2 episodes.
Yeah, we don't need him hopping in as much. Like the thing is,
had they not blown their load with Kirk earlier and they brought him in for this episode, it would feel perfectly earned.
It would, but it's almost like they're trying to shoehorn him in a little bit so that they can then justify the build-up to, the original series, which
Star Trek Year One, Star Trek USS Enterprise Year 1 or whatever.
Yeah, whatever the hell that storyline was. I think what they're trying to do is they're just trying to insert him at every point they can, so that like people can go from Strange New Worlds to his series, and it'd be like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Had we had a mention of him early, bring him in for two other episodes. Obviously, the holodeck was a fine one just to throw him in there as a character because they
Yeah.
could, and especially for the humor aspect. And then obviously Salad who ate its tail. Those two episodes, and that was it. And not bring him in for 4.5 racist Vulcans or whatever other episodes. I forget the other episodes he appeared in.
He's been in that many, we can't even remember all of them.
Did he make it to Wedding Bell Blues?
Yeah, because him and Sam were there for Wedding Bell Blues.
Oh yeah. Yep. Okay. So yeah, a little bit less would have helped, and he was used less. Last thing I want to
Yeah.
talk about here: the jackets.
Dude, those jackets were so cool.
Are we going to burst here? You want one of those jackets, don't you?
I do. I want one so bad. I'm so
Okay.
calm.
That was a little bit too. Okay, so that was a little more than I expected. Okay. So let's go to Prison Planet. Battelle and Pike show up. Mbenga warns them that Evil Gamble's trying to break out. Then Evil Gamble breaks out, and Mbenga gets knocked out of the rest of the scene. Evil Gamble walks out, monologuing, then blasts the statue, which hurts Battelle. Pike tries to be noble, gets smacked down instantly. Battelle's not doing much better, though. But then she starts getting her glowy hands on.
Ooh, get your glow on.
From here, we get several scenes of Pike and Battelle after this battle. The first scene we get, there's a wedding anniversary. They discuss names, gifts, and for Pike, the gift is an apron with Chef Pike on it. There's a knock at the door. Pike feels tied to his destiny. We cut to another scene, their dog and their daughter running around, and Pike is getting ready to leave for the mission that will turn him into Captain Meltyface.
Captain Meltyface.
Pike's afraid of what will happen to the family, but not himself, because he's accepted that, but the impact of others. We get another knock at the door. Battelle opens the door to Pike, standing there after the mission with an intact face. Apparently, the accident didn't happen. Battelle says she might have changed history. Pike doesn't know what will come next. We get another knock at the door. Pike and Battelle are older, and the Anson Mount Hair has wholly given up, and food is ready. Their daughter shows up with Admiral April's son. The young ones are getting married, and everybody is all happy, and the nude couple just leaves. Then a knock at the door, getting lower and lower, but they've got time for champagne. A row of pictures leads to an old Pike and an old Battelle, the latter of whom is in the process of dying. She tells them to look at the stars. There's another knock. Pike doesn't want to leave. Battelle points out that this is what they've fought for, and Pike goes to answer as Battelle slowly slips away. I will say a few times here we do see a shooting star in several of these scenes as well.
Yep.
I just forget exactly where that is. Anything before I say the next thing?
No, not really.
Okay. On the other side of the door that old Pike with sad Anson Mount Hair opens, we find Evil Gamble as we're back on the prison planet, just in time to watch Gamble blast the Beholder statue to pieces and unleash all of his brethren, turning the room all cosmic as the baddies all swirl around. Battelle, though, nopes that, declaring herself both Marie Battelle and the Beholder, as she says,
I am filled with light you cannot vanquish. The love I feel is brighter than your darkness. Your judgment is here.
Yeah, I really need to copy edit better. She then seals up all the baddies, starts glowing, and becomes the beholder statue as we pull out the pike standing all alone.
Effect and cause.
So the whole Battelle and Pike flash forward image scene, in a way, reminded me of the first 12 minutes of the movie Up.
I loved Up as a kid.
That first 12 minutes just kicks you in the ass so hard. It's
It
ridiculous.
it hits you in the feels, gives you
It
all the emotions.
yeah, for those of you for some reason don't know it, it's basically one of the characters and his girlfriend that he meets at the beginning of the movie. It's a 12-minute animated sequence of them getting married, their life together, not being able to have children, some sadness and happiness. Then she gets old, gets sick, and dies.
Yep,
It is 12 minutes of
gut
slowly
wrenching.
getting to crying your eyes out because it's a Michael Giacchino did the score and it just crushes you by the end. And it is one of the best 12 minutes
Of course,
of
it's Michael
Pixar film
Giacchino.
we ever see. Because but yeah, this was what that was literally them seeing what the future could be if they weren't set in their destinies. Because we know Patel's going all statue and Pike's going all. No, I'm sorry, that's Beholders. I'm gonna be sick of those another year or so because playing Phandelver Below.
Lord.
Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much. So the great part is that they didn't fridge Marie Battelle for Pike's development.
No, they didn't.
She had a good conclusion to her story, and she got to choose her fate.
It was a fitting. Well, I wouldn't say fitting end, but it was a good ending.
Yeah, I
For
am
now.
happy about that. So let's get the end of the season. So Pike's log indicates that the Skygowans are now recovering and the crew remembering, but it's over now. Chapel, we get a scene Chapel saying goodbye to Corby, who's going to be staying on the planet since he must have been acquired in the CBS merger. He gives Chapel some star charts to look at before he goes. Yeah, I'm going to keep hammering the whole merger crap.
It's still funny. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, Spock and Kirk are playing 3D chess. With Kirk winning, Spock Spock thinking about dating and his dating, and them talking about them talking about serving on the same ship in the future.
Whoa! So cool, bruh.
Okay, give me a moment. Luckily, Lon shows up to stop the meta reference. And then we end with Jim and Sam Kirk sitting down to a drink, which that is how it should have ended, not the let's have Kirk and Spock playing 3D chess.
Woo!
In the captain quarters, Una gives Chris a drink. He's not up to talking. Contemplative music plays as he lays down an apron like the one in the vision, but without his name on it. We get a montage and a monologue about Pike hating goodbyes. The shots we get are Pelly and Scotty looking over something engineering. Chapel turning from a patient to hug Mbanga. We get Una, Neota, and Erica drinking and laughing in the lounge. Spock and Lon meditating together. Then back to Chris and Una sitting inside and drinking in silence.
Are you sure they're meditating?
Yeah. He concludes that maybe the time is not fleeting, memories are reality, and no one we ever know is really gone.
That's deeply profound.
On the bridge, Pike walks on as the crew awaits. Spock says they have a bunch of uncharted planets, enough for a 5-year mission. Ortegas has a course plotted. Pike looks at the view screen and sees a shooting star. He sits. They banter a bit. Pike says to go as fast as Ortegas wants to go. She takes that challenge as the Enterprise leaves orbit and takes off at warp speed to season 4. I'm going to say this was a solid episode.
It was. You know what? As far as season finales go, it was a
It,
pretty good one.
yeah. It's not going to rank in the greats, but I felt like it felt like an ending and a good resolving of a lot of stuff that needed to resolve.
Yeah,
That's
it
what you
doesn't.
want as finale.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like they're trying to shoehorn endings to like mini storylines into this episode. Everything flowed naturally, which is
Yeah.
great compared to some other shows. Community, you know,
We didn't get our
season
6 seasons of
finales.
movie.
6 seasons in a movie, and they're currently making it. No, but like certain shows, they will try and cut the stories short so that they can do the ending. Whereas with this, it all flowed naturally, and it was really nice to see.
Yeah. It was a good ending. It wasn't, it's not the best episode of the season. We'll
Yeah,
talk about that in a minute. But it felt like a solid. It felt like a solid finale.
it
So,
was. Yeah, it was pretty solid.
so I think that's pretty much it. So let's talk about the episodes.
Hell
Um,
yeah.
so and this is something that I've heard in reviews of other episodes. So yeah, not total credit for originality here, but yeah, the problem with a lot of this season is they play it safe. They don't really leave you ambiguous. They tell you what the message is, but it's a happy message because it's like the ending of the musical episode where they're singing that they're part of Starfleet.
Oh
Yay!
God, not the musical episode.
Oh, come on, that one was fun.
It was good. I will admit, the intro sequence for that episode.
One of the 2 episodes that my daughter, who generally doesn't like Star Trek, watched. The other one, of course, was Those Old Scientists, because Mariner and Boimler, because the only series she's ever watched is Lower Decks. She hates the rest of them.
Oh
Hey,
my God.
and an interesting side note: the way I got her to watch Lower Decks is I forget which season it is, but it's the one where Mariner's standing there as they're doing a briefing, and she keeps yawning because everything's so boring.
Ugh.
This
I
convinced
think
my daughter. This scene was exactly. This is my daughter watching Star Trek.
I'm fairly certain I know which season you're on about as
Yeah,
well. I just
she watched all 5 seasons of it, and Those Old Scientists, just to watch more of the fun between Boimler and Mariner, because that's how good this. That's how good that show was. So let's talk about the episodes. We got Hegemony Part 2.
I mean, that was a solid opener, let's be honest.
Yeah, I mean, sure, it was pretty much. It's the action sequence and the payoff. And while that started the story of Battelle, who had
It
been
did.
bitten, but now we have with. And I thought it was like they're going to find a cure after they'll do an episode to find the cure, and then boom.
No cure. She's just a statue now.
Yeah, but a good ending.
Very good ending.
Yeah, I was satisfied. Although they kind of neatly wrapped up the Gorn, which means we probably won't get our Ortegas as Gorn ambassador to the Gorn.
Oh, that would be a good bit.
Okay, Wedding Bell Blues.
Rhys Darby. Need I say more?
Yeah, this was good. Getting to see somebody chew into the Trelane character and have some fun, and we get bonus Delancey. So that was
Woohoo!
fun. It was
Delancey!
silly. It was stupid. It if that was the stupid episode for the season, yay, that was fun. I enjoyed it.
I think Wedding Bell Blues and 4.5 Vulcans were meant to be like the stupid episodes this season.
Shall we're going to tear into 4.5 Vulcans in a little bit, though. Shuttle
Yeah.
to Kenfori.
Zombies.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
the zombie.
hell yeah.
Yeah, it was fun. We got another horror genre play. With a little bit Trek side, we got the coolest Klingon whip we've ever seen.
Oh, dude, that whip was so cool. You know what? Next cosplay I do, I'm gonna cosplay a Klingon, and I'm gonna make sure to have that whip.
Yeah. This is also where we had Ortegas being insubordinate. This was like, what are we going to do with Ortegas? And how are they going to pay this off? How are they going to pay what happens through the season off in season 4? Because they have to resolve the Ortegas situation. Because we still have, but we'll talk about that when we get Terrarium. Okay, Space Adventure Hour.
It was a funny little meta episode. So I mean,
yeah, this was them saying, "Look, it's Star Trek! Ah, how great Star Trek is!"
It's Star Trek. It's Star Trek. Whoa!
We did get a holodeck, and why the holodeck couldn't appear on the Enterprise. They gave us an out so that to say, yeah, we can't do this on the Enterprise. We tried it. That didn't work right.
Yeah, it doesn't work too good.
It gave Scotty some chew time. That was time to chew scenery. That was always fun. La'an got to do something, and we got to have our holodeck episode with of course, there's a malfunction. Never saw that before.
There's always something wrong with the holodeck. Maybe they should just, do away with it if it keeps having problems.
Yep. So, through the lens of time.
What an episode. I mean,
it was a decent setup.
Yeah, it was a really good setup, really good the execution came later, but even still, like, it was pretty good, and I liked the whole twist of effect and causality instead of causality and effect, like you
that
do.
made it nice. Didn't like losing Gamble because it's like we could have had so much more fun with him.
Yeah, we could have had a little bit more side character plot if we had Gamble.
But no, we didn't get that. That's sad. So the Salad who ate its tail. This is the let's put the Enterprise crew on the Farragut so that we can have Jim Kirk commanding. I did like this episode.
It was good.
We could have had a little more payoff and discussion.
Definitely. I think also part of it, for me at least, was that kind of twist about it being a bunch of humans who've had to adapt to survive, and then it turns out they killed them all. It makes you question the morality and the fragility of human life.
Yeah. Probably could have been told a little bit better, but it was a decent episode.
It was.
Now we get to what is Starfleet? This one has gotten worse the more we think about it, the more I hear about it, the more discussions are had. They had a chance to say something really good with this episode, and they fell back on cliche and let's jerk off Gene Roddenberry.
The only thing that I can
He'd be
say
into that.
The only thing I can say about what is Starfleet, it's basically The Office, but really bad.
Yeah. Again, the setup was good, but the fact that it wasn't about really actually questioning Starfleet, that was just the facade over which they put a rah-rah. Because, yeah, the difference is the people that serve on the Enterprise are what make Starfleet not as bad as they should. But then we forget literally every bad Starfleet officer and the Admiralty.
Janeway.
Yeah, Janeway the war criminal, um, every every admiral that goes bad, and that's like
Yeah.
90% of them.
Abrams versus Kirk.
Yeah, there's what else do we have here? Yeah, every time er, half of the episodes in future seasons were every half the episodes turned out eventually to be here's where somebody in Starfleet went bad. This could have really examined it, but really it was let's just do an episode where Beto Ortegas does a hack job because he's pissed. And then in the end, he completely turns around because Starfleet is really about the people. It's a happy episode. It's a happy episode in the end.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah. It has just like the end of the musical, it tries to paint too of an optimistic brush. And really where the original series didn't completely make it as utopian. It as say Next Generation got in the
Yeah.
earlier seasons. It's too often we paint Starfleet are the good guys. Are they always the good guys though?
No, I
That's
mean, well, every organization has its flaws.
and that's before we get into the Section 31 crap.
I haven't watched Section 31 yet. Don't ruin it for me.
Don't worry, they people that made it ruined it for you.
No, don't say that, Patrick.
Yeah, it's a crappy action movie with some Star Trek
La
slapped
la
over
la
it.
la 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 la.
Yeah, there's two reasons. There's two words to explain the only reason it's worth watching at all. Michelle Yeoh.
Hell
That's,
yeah!
that's literally it.
Yeah!
Okay, 4.5 Vulcans.
Goddamn racists!
Yeah. Lars, can you hit the clip that it's not as this bad, but I think 4.5 Vulcans has earned this rating.
Then you shall have no treaty, no vaccine, and no Lieutenant Yar.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This is the racist piece of shit of Strange New Worlds.
it is, and I hate it.
Yeah. Again, there's some silly moments, and it's supposed to be played for laughs.
Number one.
Yeah, but yeah, it basically makes Vulcans as assholes as a racial trait.
Yeah, when it's not, it's. I mean, granted, I'm fairly certain when they made the Vulcans, they accidentally made them autism coded, but even still.
Yeah. Here's the other thing. This episode was like 40 some minutes, low 40 minutes. They cut some shit.
Did they?
They had to have.
cut it?
They only did a 40-minute episode. They could have had more nuance. They could have found ways to have nuance and not just drive the Vulcans are assholes joke into the ground.
It's not the only thing that needs to be driven into the ground.
That episode, yeah.
No, the writers of that episode, they just need, I want to grab their head and just go.
Yeah, I think they deserve it. Again, not Code of Honor bad, but yeesh. So, Terrarium. Obviously, we're talking about the last two episodes. Terrarium, I think, is the best episode of the season. And Stewart, take us up.
No, for me, it'd be a split between New Life and New Civilizations and Shuttle to Kenfori. Those two are very close contenders for best episode of the season.
I put Terrarium because it stayed on Star Trek Message the most until the last 3 minutes.
Yeah, when they did all that
when they just off Gordon Girl and then throw in a Metron because we gotta
threw in a Metron because fuck you and everyone you care about.
Yeah. So yeah, other than the Metron and shorting the fallout of this situation, which, yeah, an Ortegas and Laan scene better be in season 5 because we need the resolution.
Yeah, need to have some kind of argument between the two of them.
Or something.
Yeah, just like Ortega's being like, "You shot that gun," and Laan's just like,
Yeah.
"No."
Yeah, I did. I off that bitch.
I blew her head smooth off.
On the plus side, at least Lon didn't look as Ortega submerged, and Gorn Girl pops out and she said, "Get away from her, you bitch!"
God, yeah, you know what? At least they didn't do a cheap alien reference cop out. Yeah,
That would have been hilarious, though.
it
But
would have been.
I'd have ripped them a new one for doing it. And New Life, New Civilizations. It's a good episode. They brought home the Battelle story, and they talked about possibilities.
They did.
Not a bad episode, but I think of episodes, Terrarium said the most. Slot Who Ate Its Tail said a little bit less. And then it goes downhill from there until we get to 4.5 races Vulcans.
Oh God, God damn it! Again, this 4.5 Vulcans. It's like Code of Honor. I just want to bleach my brain a bit. But New Life and New Civilizations, it has got to be probably the best season finale out of every Star Trek series I've watched.
Oh no, I can't say that. There's the end of the series finale of Lower Decks got that one's got a special place. That one easily beats this one. I'm
I
trying to
haven't watched Lower Decks.
watch Lower Decks, damn it. How have you not watched Lower Decks by now?
I was too busy watching anime.
Watch Lower Decks. I can't believe you haven't watched that. To give you an idea, we have Boimler and Mariner are screw ups in various ways throughout 5 seasons. But they get better and improve. And the final episode, this is the part where it just hits me that this is how good Trek should be. They come in with, "Oh shit, Captain, this thing is happening. We need to do something." And the captain says, "Okay, let's do it." That moment pays off 5 seasons of what they've been doing.
So it's basically Trailer Park Boys, but Star Trek.
I haven't seen Trailer Park Boys, so I can't say. But yeah, it probably.
Okay. I'll see if I can check it out. Yeah.
We know. Yeah, this is your last episode because if you haven't watched Lower Decks, you don't belong on Treknicity. Okay, I'm kidding. I can't get anybody else, so you're it. Lars decided to sit on for the off board and on the board in the background. So, so that. I love getting Lars in my ear, whining like a little biatch. Okay, so that's all we have for the 3rd season of Strange New Worlds. Yay! Woo! Did we get it right? Did we miss anything? Agree, disagree? Let us know. Thank you for joining us here on Treknicity, where we do the deep dive on all things in the Star Trek multiverse. I'm your host, Patrick Murray. With me, my co-host, Kat Drake. And thanks to Lars for not producing this show while naked, now that he's no longer on camera. Because unfortunately, we can still see him.
Yep.
Luckily, he does have the face for radio, so even if he shows up, hopefully that's the way. Woo! Okay.
How can you say that, Patrick?
Because I'm looking at him right now.
That's evil.
Thank you. Be sure to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Treknicity.com, as well as visiting all of our socials listed here, or find us on your favorite podcast service, such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and Amazon Music. If you have ideas for future episode subjects, please feel free to drop a comment in the video or DM us on any of our social media accounts. And as always, rock out with your Spock out. See you next time.